Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. The situation as far as the capital, Kyiv, is concerned is very tense because this huge 40-mile-long armoured division still making its way down towards Kyiv. We're told by officials in Kyiv that it is looking to encircle the city. The images that have been coming out of Kyiv this morning, a live shot there showing you a very peaceful scene now after missile strikes in a television tower and some other locations in and around Kyiv overnight. The air raid sirens sound sporadically every time there is concern of more missiles or artillery coming towards that city. Occasional gunfire can be heard, but the bulk of that huge Russian convoy is still a few miles off, we're told. The second city of Kharkiv, that is the scene of some intense fighting, missile strikes and attacks overnight. The main university in Kharkiv and indeed the police headquarters in the city came under missile attack this morning, burning buildings visible, rubble on the streets. No word yet on the number of casualties. We can expect, though, I think, as the day progresses, that there will be word of people caught up in these explosions. Yesterday, of course, when we had that attack that took place on the administrative headquarters in Kharkiv, there were some 21 people reported dead and 112 injured, both in that building and in residential areas in Kharkiv, which again are continuing to be pounded, it seems, by Russian forces. Now, the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said that this would not surprise him, that it is part of Russian military doctrine to surround cities and to shell them or launch missile attacks, usually in the midnight hours, to degrade the infrastructure in these cities, to effectively bring them to their knees and to force a surrender. But some really disturbing images and scenes coming out of Kharkiv of the level of destruction, both in the city centre now and in some of those residential areas. Worrying news also coming out, Kherson, the city of some 300,000 in the south of Ukraine, which we're told it has been the scene of some very intense fighting overnight. There are Russian troops on the ground, according to multiple sources. The Russian Ministry of Defence claiming it has taken control of Kherson. That is being denied by local officials. The UK Ministry of Defence acknowledging and appearing to corroborate the fact that Russian troops have been seen on the ground inside Kherson, but whether they are in control or not, we don't know. Mariupol, that strategic port city, has also been under fierce attack in recent days. The latest from officials there is it's still under Ukrainian control. And Zhytomyr, to the west of Kyiv, well, it has come under attack during the night. A residential area struck, we believe, by one or more missiles. A maternity hospital in that residential area was struck. We're getting reports of, so far, at least 4 people killed, including a child. But local authorities there putting the death toll and the numbers injured much higher than that. There is an airbase near this site that may have been the original target for the missile, but local officials are in no doubt. Actually, the Russians, they believe, are targeting urban residential areas as well. And all of this, while the bombardment is now being felt in residential areas in a number of key cities across Ukraine, it's adding to the refugee crisis. That refugee crisis, according to the United Nations, has resulted in some 660,000 people spilling over the Ukrainian border into friendly NATO nations. Poland has received some 450,000 refugees who've crossed the border into that country in the last few days, and still they continue to stream across the border into Poland, into Romania, into Slovakia, into Hungary. There are 7 million at the very least who are internally displaced in Ukraine. In other words, they are fleeing the scenes of the worst of the fighting with a view, many of them, to head towards the border to get to safer countries to seek refuge.